So some big news in the crypto markets today. We saw a huge push with Bitcoin actually reaching $68,000, which is a huge milestone considering we haven't hit this number in a very long time. I think this was back later or earlier this year in spring. So just hitting this number today, especially when previous cycles have shown this time being the most, or when things kick off. At the end of the day, this is a pretty big indicator that we're gonna go on a pretty big leg up. And if you consider it, again, with the major adoption that we continue to see, policymakers, countries adopting cryptocurrency, big institutions, this is going to be one of the bigger bull markets, in my opinion, and potentially even one that lasts a lot longer unless we see a recession follow, which there is, of course, that possibility. Kind of going over the status of the US economy as a whole, looking at unemployment, looking at inflation. But at the end of the day, we will just have to wait and see. We have, again, elections coming up with both presidential candidates, as we've talked about many times on this channel, bringing up cryptocurrency in one shape or another. So again, there's a lot of reasons to actually be bullish for this upcoming cycle. Of course, though, there's always the risk that this doesn't happen. But even if a cycle doesn't come, of course, investing in Bitcoin, I'm always going to recommend. But what I do want to say is, if we look at macroeconomics, our M2 money supply has been increasing, which follows exactly what happened 4 years ago. We have other things going on as well, such as, we saw unemployment being at a level lower than it was actually expected to be at. So with all these things, there's at least a decent amount of strength in the economy right now. The economy's still obviously not doing so well, where this still could happen. And we're still kind of early on to things. We've waited this long and we've seen the leg up on Bitcoin. You have to think a lot of investors right now, both in Bitcoin and to altcoins as well, with the expectation, which expectations are a pretty big thing in macroeconomics, with the expectation that Bitcoin is, or with the expectation, that Bitcoin and the overall crypto market is going to have a very huge price hike. That expectation alone in macroeconomics, one of the big factors is expectations, because let's say you have a recession fear and everyone expects a recession to come. Well, in events that a recession is expected to come, everyone's going to start doing things in order to prepare for a recession potentially happening. And what that does is actually that preparation causes the recession in the first place. It's a pretty big macroeconomic rule there. And if you look at it, when you have a lot of people expecting a huge cycle, the reason we have these price hikes with, not as significant dips down to lower levels that we've seen previously, is because of the simple fact that a lot of people now are buying and holding. And the main reason they're buying and actually holding, not selling for these short-term price swings, is because of simple macroeconomics expectations. They expect this cycle to occur, therefore they are going to keep their money in it, and then just keep snowballing to the point where we have exponential growth, etc. So with that in mind, I think we have pretty good chances of this cycle pulling through. Again, always keep in mind that this is a possibility that this could not happen. I think if we look short term, kind of in relation to what happened with the previous cycles, if we look short term with that, we saw Bitcoin making major pushes late October and into November, where it started pushing even harder. I think especially right now, guys, it is the 16th, I believe. Yes, it's the 16th of October, and we are seeing a push up. And if you guys actually remember what I said, last week or 2 weeks ago, I said in one of the videos that around October 15th to the 20th is when we could see the next leg up, and that's already happened. So considering that, I genuinely believe we're going to start pushing even harder now. This is the time where big gains are going to be made. Though that means you have to be very vigilant every single day, understanding the short-term price fluctuations, understanding everything, because at the end of the day, if you're not looking at factors such as, something as simple as Coinbase's ranking in the App Store, or something as simple as the REI of Bitcoin, looking at stuff like that and really understanding when a cycle top is present, because it could come earlier than it's expected, which I expect it to be anywhere from March to May based off of previous cycles, and the way this one's been going as well, it's following the trends of the previous ones. I think we could see something like that happen. And so that could change daily. So you have to be on it. You have to understand where things are going and stay informed. Watching videos like this, I myself have to watch videos. I myself have to scan X to get information, because in order to be successful in whatever it is, you have to be consistently learning about it. And so if you just invest your money now and expect to, plan to exit based off of luck and not looking at all these different factors, then at the end of the day, what do you have to gain? You're just playing it off of luck. You are essentially gambling, whereas someone who's investing at lows in solid projects, who understands how the cycles work and things of that nature, they of course have the upper hand on someone who's very uneducated and chooses to be. So keep that in mind. So again, this is just an overall status of the crypto market, why I'm still very, very bullish. There's so many factors going into place, but again, we will have to see what ends up happening. There could be a ton of different things that go wrong. We'd have so much, we could have some black swan events in the mix, but even those, if you look at the Israel-Iran conflict, barely touched crypto and the stock market. It did definitely dip them down, but they did recover. And I said exactly the same thing. I said this is going to be something that I believe happens, or is going to happen as well. And, people thought World War III was going to break out. It didn't. Again, guys, we look at that happening in the summer, the same thing happened and nothing happened. There's fear temporarily. I myself even got fearful, but I knew to hold on because I logically thought. And that's going to be another thing. If you want to succeed in this market, as I've learned from those who have, you have to think logically and you can't think emotionally. If you think emotionally, then at the end of the day, you yourself, and that honestly goes with being emotional in terms of greed and being emotional in terms of fear of loss, or being very conservative. If you're logical about where things are going, you will be the most successful out of anyone compared to the person who is emotional. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. Quick little market update, quick little notes of information. We will talk about maybe Aerodrome or Moonwell or some other base project. Really depends on what tomorrow brings. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. I'll see you later.